Artist Mike Jones joins us now to talk about the different media he's involved in, and there happens to be a couple. One is photography.
Photography, yes. Actually, originally it started in drawing. That was my main thing. I've been drawing all my life, and then once I got into college, I started photography, which then moved over into painting, oil painting specifically.
That's a strange transfer. It would seem you would go from drawing to painting, and photography would be out in left field.
That's true. I was a bit hesitant about oil painting because I'm partially colorblind, and so I figured photography by itself is very helpful to an artist, simply because by learning about photography, I can take my own pictures of my artwork rather than hire somebody else to do it. Mm-hmm. And that was the main reason why I did photography. However, I learned that through the semesters of photography that I can apply what I took pictures of and apply that directly to my paintings. I would take a picture of maybe my forehead or something, and then I would paint that, which we'll see later on.
But how do you do this colorblind? By looking at the picture, and whatever, if green looks blue to you, you paint it. How does that work?
Well, the thing is, there's different levels of color blindness, and I'm not that bad. I have a partial red-green color blindness. I can tell the difference between red and green, in certain instances. Sometimes,
stoplights, for example.
Exactly.
That helps.
Yeah, exactly. But there's been times where I can't distinguish one from the other. Mm-hmm. So when the photography that I've done is black and white, so when I take a photograph and then I turn that into a painting, I have the freedom to use whatever color I want. So I'm really not limited by my color blindness.
We have some pictures we want to show you, and you'll see how unique this gentleman really is. First off, Mike, tell me about these.
Well, these are portraits that I was commissioned to do for IUN. About a year and a half ago, my professor, Dave Clayman, asked me if I'd be interested in doing some portraits for IUN. And at first, I was a bit hesitant, simply because I've never done portraits before.
This is a first for you?
That's the first time I've ever done portraits. I was nervous, but Dave told me that, it's all right. I've had drawing classes with him before, so he said that I would do fine at it. And so I agreed to do it, and he had to work out some deals with some of the people at IUN, and what it came down to was I did about one portrait every week and a half the spring semester of '97.
Took you a week and a half to do one of those.
Actually, it actually took about a total of 9 hours for each portrait.
Now, these are the chancellors that are in IU Northwest's history, the current chancellor all the way back to the first.
That's right. I did all 5 chancellors. I did it in a black and white drawing simply because I haven't been painting that long, and I've been drawing all my life, so it was easier to do this, in a black and white pencil drawing. The portraits themselves, I would do a majority of the work in one day, which would take about 8 hours. And then the next day, I would do some touch-up work, which would take maybe an hour to 2. So, it took about a weekend for each portrait.
That's amazing.
It was fun, and it was a learning experience, And the portraits I drew from photographs. Mm-hmm. I never actually met the people that I drew.
Yeah.
And, that also ties over to the painting. I paint from photographs, too, so.
And how many photographs would it take to get a picture of one of the chancellors?
Well, it all depends on how well the photograph looks. If a photograph has some good blacks and some good whites, a good value range, then I can do a drawing, just from one photo.
So you use black and white photographs?
Mm-hmm.
Not color?
I can use color. Color is a bit harder to do, simply because to transfer, take a picture of a color picture and then to do a black and white drawing, you have to try and imagine what that picture would look like black and white.
So a black and white photograph is best.
It's easier.
These next pictures are a little bit different, and if you're reading stop, that's going to upset you or nothing, but you're really going to get a kick out of this. Wait till you see some of these that happen to be in color. Explain this one.
Okay, this is an oil painting I did. Actually, it's the second oil painting I've ever done on a canvas. It measures about 3 by 4 feet, and what it is, it's a still life of some easels. And it's the middle section of 2 easels. I cut out the top half and the bottom half of the easels and just left the middle boards. I did that because I didn't want the still life to be boring. I wanted people to look at it and to wonder what it was, to question what it is. And the way it's done is the actual boards that run through the center of the canvas almost look abstract, Mm-hmm. you really don't know what it is unless you're an artist and have painted on this particular type of easel.
Years ago, magazines used to put about 10 pictures on a page, and you'd look at it and you'd say, "I wonder what," and say, "Do you know what this is?" And it would be up close, and you think, "Well, what is this?" And it turned out to be the bristles of a toothbrush or
yeah.
something very unique,
I mean,
and something you use every day that you see all the time, but up close and personal, you just couldn't figure out what it was.
and a lot of my paintings are like that. You know, I take everyday objects, I enlarge them in such a way that you have to think about it, you know, and you might not actually even realize what it is. You may see something totally different. And I mean, that's what I enjoy.
Well, here's one of the things he's enjoying. Look at this. Now, we're not going to tell you what it is. I know, and I had to ask what it is. But how did you come up with this?
Well, it's a photograph of an object that everybody has. And what I did was I changed the color of it. I omitted some objects, you know, in the actual object itself. And when I painted it, I did it very loosely, you know, very serene. It has a serene quality to it. And a lot of people that look at it, they don't know what it is, and what most people have told me is that they see a door, a pathway leading to a door, which I never thought of.
Yeah.
You know, it's very hard for me to understand what
true.
other people think because I know what I'm painting.
Yeah. Okay, tell him the answer.
Actually, it's my forehead. It's the bridge of my nose, my forehead, and my two eyes, which are in a shadow. And what I did to take the picture was I took a lamp and shined it on my forehead, and I basically took a picture of myself. And then when I painted it, I enlarged it to, I believe the size of that painting is about 3.5 by 5 feet.
Wow.
So,
Where do you hang these things?
well, I haven't
The
hanged-
United Center? Soldier Field?
I don't know. I haven't hanged any of them yet. You know, they're going to be hanging in a gallery soon at IUN. So,
Oh, great. You going to have a show?
well, not soon. They will be in the student show this coming, I think, March.
Oh, good.
But when I graduate, all my paintings will be hanging up for my final senior show.
Wow. How about this one?
That one is also a picture of my forehead. It's from a frontal view with it's the bridge of my nose, my forehead, and my left eye. And actually, if you look really closely,
Yeah.
you can see the eye in it.
The eye is in the right-hand corner of your screen, and down at the bottom, and it's faint, but it's very dark, and it looks like he's got a tremendous frown
Yeah.
over the eye, from the eyebrow and the bridge of the nose, and this is amazing.
Well, when I painted it, what I wanted to do was to confuse the viewer. You know, I didn't paint any hair. I left that all out, and then I obviously changed the color to blue. You know, and that actually came from Pablo Picasso, who at one point went through a blue period, where a lot of his paintings were blue. So what I've been doing lately is I've just been taking particular colors like a blue, and I'll do a whole painting just in blue, black, and white. I've done one with just green, and now a painting I'm working on now is just using blue and green. You know, I'm using simple colors, but you know, I do them in such a way that it'll confuse the viewer and they can just appreciate the simple beauty of an object.
This next one isn't what you think. Now, what do people say they think that is when they first see it?
Well, at first glance, a lot of people think it's a plant. It looks like a plant, like a big chia pet.
Chia pet.
Yeah,
exactly.
But when they look at it closely, they see that it's a sphere made up of small army men, the army men that we all play with as children.
Those guys who have the little solid green base, and
Exactly,
they're
like
green.
the guys in that movie Toy Story.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
The platoon, actually, you've got about a regiment up there.
Oh,
How did you get those to stick together like that?
Actually, what I did was I simply took a basketball, I glued them on a basketball, but I left a part of the basketball open, particularly the air hole, so that way if it deflates, I can always inflate it again.
Oh, yeah.
And
Good
then
thinking.
you know, I painted the whole thing green. And
This- Go ahead.
well, what it is when I did it, it was more or less just a joke. It was something very funny to me. I mean, the idea of taking a basketball, gluing some toys on it, and making that into a piece of art was humorous. But what I found was a lot of people, when they'd look at it, they'd see something else. To them, they would think of war, they would think of death, they would think of destruction, which I didn't think of. It was something that they thought of. And that actual sculpture kind of pushed me towards the way that I am now, doing paintings where I may have one meaning, but other people have other meanings.
Obviously, and there's a picture of one of the soldiers. And how did you do this and get that black background? That's just a very small miniature soldier, about what,
It's a
2
miniature
inches?
soldier. I think he's about 3 inches.
Okay.
And what I did was I took my camera, I took my lens off and flipped my lens around, held it up to the base, and by doing that, it acts as an intense magnifying glass. So then I set the army man on a table. I took a little spotlight, and I was shining the light directly on the army man, and I turned the lights off in the room everywhere else. So there was only one light in the room, which was on the army man. So when I took the picture, you know, everything came out black behind the army man, and then he, with the light shining on him, was the only thing that you saw in the photo.
It looks like he is witnessing an explosion.
Well, the reason that I took the picture up close like that is because, I mean, that's an everyday object. You know, we all play with those as children, but we never really look at them to see, you know, how grotesque they can look. You know, I mean, they're scratched, they're battered, they're bruised, and I wanted to expose that. I wanted to show that to the viewer.
Well, Mike, you're an amazing individual. 30 seconds. What do you plan to do after you graduate?
Well, I'm going to take a break, do some paintings. I'm going to check out some graduate schools, and then hopefully I'm going to go to, you know, graduate school and maybe become a professor. Also, I'm a musician, so I play music on the side and write some songs.
Very busy guy.
Yeah.
Well, you've got one of the best as an instructor, Dave Clayman.
Dave Clayman is excellent.
Tops in his field. And,
I can't complain.
He makes those very large paintings, too. I've seen those that go almost a mural on the wall, practically.
Oh, yeah. he paints very large, and
Yes,
that's part of the reason why I paint large, just
You like
because
that, too.
he's my professor.
Well, he's got quite an astute student in Michael Jones. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you very much, Tom.
Appreciate it. Now, tomorrow night, we will be talking with Gary Mayor Scott King, and you'll be able to talk with the mayor, too, right here on Channel 56. So we'll see you then.